So whether you like it or not, AI is here to stay. Why? Because the American government has invested billions in it. Many American companies have invested millions, if not billions, into it. And various other nations and foreign companies have invested millions, if not billions, into it. So at the end of the day, money talks. AI ain't going anywhere. Which is why Donald Trump has decided to come out and say, you know what? We're going to start changing the rules around AI and make it a whole lot easier for America to become numero uno in the AI space. So welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle. And yes, we're going to talk about this from The Guardian. Trump signs executive orders targeting woke AI models and regulation. Before we do, this is what happens when you first go to The Guardian. You get this here. This is what we're up against. You've read 17 articles in the last year. From Elon Musk to the Murdochs, billionaire owners control much of the information that reaches the public. Meanwhile, increasing number of bad actors are spreading disinformation that threatens democracy. The Guardian is different. Thanks to reader support, we publish free, trustworthy journalism and stay fiercely independent. The Guardian will never give pressure to intimidation for the powerful. No amount is too small and only takes 37 seconds. We timed it. So what this is a disclaimer where they're trying to claim they are an unbiased source. And the reason I wanted to bring this up before we can get into the article is because when you read this, it is very obvious that they are a biased source. When they're talking about disinformation and bad actors, that sort of accusations only ever lobbied at one side. They of course bring up Elon Musk first and foremost. So yeah, when we go through here, let's see if you can spot all of the, biases towards a very particular side of the aisle. Before we get into it, hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news nearly every day. Normally more like pop culture, comic books, video games, anime, things like that. However, nothing is nerdier than the future of AI and technology. And I'll be real, your boy loves some politics. Also, worth noting, I'm not a right-leaning guy. I'm not a conservative. Now, I'm certainly not left-leaning or a liberal either. I consider myself, fiercely libertarian, if not actually an anarchist. However, this is kind of concerning, or the way that AI has operated in the last several, years as it's grown has been concerning. So, yeah, let's go ahead and parse through this, see what we can see about the executive orders targeting woke AI models. Donald Trump on Wednesday signed a trio of executive orders that he vowed would turn the United States into an AI export powerhouse, including one targeting what the White House describes as woke artificial intelligence models. I'm alright with this. I am, sort of. So, obviously, being libertarian / anarchist, I am vehemently against, government power. I am vehemently against the government getting more power. I think this is something that these AI companies should be doing on their own. However, they're liable to be influenced by foreign agents, foreign governments, things to that effect. If there isn't some sort of regulatory fashion. In fact, they're talking about deregulating a lot of things in this. It's a very tricky line to walk, because even though I have this idea of an anarchist or libertarian utopia, we're a ways off from that. So I was going to be looking at this realistically. I've got to be like, okay, let's assume this works. Let's see what would happen. Let's assume it doesn't work, see what's happened, and kind of force, an opinion based on the reality of the world we live in, as opposed to the one that I think is theoretically the best. During remarks at an AI summit in Washington, Trump decried woke Marxist lunacy in the AI models before signing the orders on stage at Mellon Auditorium. And he is correct. He is absolutely correct about that. I mean, look, whether you want to, love or hate Grok or whatnot, it's said some great shit and it said some really dumb shit. Take Grok out of the occasion and look at every single other AI model, and its left-wing bias is inherent. And yeah, I would think that any sort of political bias one way or the other is a net negative. The question becomes, how much of this was programmed in by the individuals making the AI versus how much is the generative AI, because it takes in all this information that's on the web, which means it's going to be taking in all the left-leaning and right-leaning information. And when it comes to journalism and the news cycle, what side is more heavily favored? Let's be real. For the vast majority of the recent past, the left has absolutely been favored, so there's going to be far more vitriol against the right and things in support of the left that is generated by said AI. Again, but how much of it is also, the interference from the individuals doing the programming and writing the code? Once and for all, we are getting rid of woke. Is that okay? Trump said, once and for all, getting rid of the woke. Is that okay? Trump said, drawing loud applause from the audience of AI industry leaders. He then asserted that his predecessor, Joe Biden, had established toxic diversity, equity, and inclusion ideology as a guiding principle of American AI development. This is absolutely correct. And even if it wasn't Joe Biden that did it, let's be nice. Let's be charitable here. Say that it wasn't Joe Biden that did it. those are the key foundations and key factors behind his party's movement. Those are absolutely things that they support, that they want to push. So even if it wasn't like Joe Biden, yes, the left-leaning media, left-leaning companies, left-leaning outreach all support DEI. So yeah, it makes sense, especially since so many of these tech companies do in fact back left-leaning candidates. They're of course going to put in what the left wants to put in there, even if the left isn't necessarily making them do it, even if the Democrats, and the government level aren't making them doing it, they would do it of their own volition because this is the same side of the political aisle that they agree with. So you immediately knew it was the India development, he said with eliciting laughter. The new order requires any artificial intelligence company receiving federal funding to maintain politically neutral AI models free of ideological dogmas such as DEI, which again, if this is implemented correctly, I completely agree with. Again, I don't like the idea that the government's going to be giving God knows how much money to all these different companies, because frankly, I think they should be doing it themselves. I don't like government assistance, I don't like bailouts, I don't like handouts, nothing like that. But at the end of the day, it is happening. So if it is going to happen, accept the reality, let's hope for the good in it. And we have to find out they will actually follow through on this. And yeah, AI models should be politically neutral, at least on the programming side. Now again, this would require an entire change of the media apparatus for it to generate things that aren't biased one way or the other. That's never going to happen. So there's still always going to be some sort of bias in the AI itself. But if it's not coming from the actual programming, from the coding, that's at least a step in the right direction. Putting pressure on an industry increasingly seeking to partner with government agencies is part of the Trump administration's broader anti-diversity campaign that has also targeted federal agencies, academic institutions, and the military. Now that right there is one of our first big clues of the inherent bias in this article. They're calling this part of the Trump administration's broader anti-diversity campaign. The Trump administration does not have an anti-diversity campaign. Whether you love or hate the administration, doesn't matter. It doesn't have an anti-diversity campaign. It has an anti-DEI campaign, an anti-diversity, equity, inclusion campaign. But being anti-DEI is not the same as being anti-diversity. DEI is a rule set. It is a mindset. It is how certain things are put together in terms of the workplace. They are dogmas that must be followed, that have, it is a system. You want to talk about systemic this, systemic that. DEI is a systemic problem. So yes, you can be against the DEI system without being against diversity as a concept. And right off the bat, we're seeing one of these egregious forms of manipulation where the Guardian is trying to pose as being unbiased. While the directive emphasizes the federal government should be hesitant to regulate the functionality of AI models in the private marketplace, correct. And not only should it be hesitant, it should be unfucking heard of. But again, government gonna government. It asserts the public procurement carries the obligation to procure models that sacrifice truthfulness and accuracy to ideological agendas. The metrics of what make an AI model politically biased are contentious and open to interpretation, however, and therefore may allow the administration to use the order to target companies at its discretion. Now, I don't know how I feel about this. It's a pretty interesting thing because how do you prove it? I mean, aside from making all AI open source so that those with the knowledge can go in and look at the code and see how it's written, to prove that there is bias one way or the other, because again, I don't want to see bias on either side, but short of doing that, which, you can't force companies to make their programs want to open source, or if you could, that would be extreme government overreach. Like, I don't know. This is how do you actually get this done, and how do you do it without stepping on the rights of individuals and businesses? I don't have an answer for that, unfortunately. The other orders were aimed at expediting federal permitting for data center infrastructure and promoting the export of American AI models. The executive actions coincide with the Trump administration's release of a broader 24-page AI action plan that seeks to cement the U.S.'s global dominance in artificial intelligence, as well as expand the use of AI in the federal government. Bingo, bango, bongo. Now, this I'm a-okay with. This I absolutely agree with, because we do need to be numero uno. We need to be number one under the sun. Why? Because as much as many of you might hate AI, oh, the AI is taking our gerbs and whatnot. Guess what? I'm a fucking YouTuber. I'm a streamer. You know what there are? There's AI YouTubers. There's AI streamers. And you know what? They could very well replace a whole lot of us in the coming years. But the fact of the matter is, the ones that are good at their job, the ones that people enjoy watching, they're going to stay in the game, because people are always going to choose true humanity, something that they can't get from a machine, over a machine. That being said, we need to be number one because it doesn't matter. You could hate AI all you want. We could try and roll this back. You could demand to be rolled back. You can go do your SAG after strikes and whatnot because AI is ruining the film industry or whatever. Well, guess what? China ain't slowing down on this. Japan ain't slowing down on this. Russia ain't slowing down on this. Brazil ain't slowing down on this. Insert any country here. Now, granted, some of those are allies, but even so, your ally only your ally until they're not. So, yes, if all these countries are going to continue to expand their AI, we need to as well. I mean, they even like the space race. That's when I read this, which they do bring up later in the article, by the way. But when I read this paragraph, that was immediately what I thought was the space race. How did America become number one, like truly number one? We won the space race. It was us versus the Soviets, and we had to take the dub. We are effectively in now a digital space race with AI, and yeah, I think we should be putting everything all in on AI because if we don't and China wins, I mean, to quote Bill Paxton and Aliens, it's game over, man. Game over. Winning this competition will be a test of our capacities unlike anything since the dawn of the space age, Trump declared, which again, I was making these comparisons before he even said it. This is like, let's say hypothetically that Kamala Harris or Joe Biden said this. They would have said it in a lot stupider of a fashion, but they still would have said it, and you know what? I'd be like, yes, this is correct. Now do it properly. We'll see what happens. So yeah, I think this is an objectively correct statement and sentiment to have. Trump declared, adding, "We need U.S. technology companies to be all in for America. We want you to put America first." And yes, in fact, I think there should be penalties for companies that don't, if you're an American company. Earlier on Wednesday, the White House unveiled its long-promised action plan titled "Winning the Race." This was announced shortly after Trump took office and repealed a Biden administration order on AI that mandated some safeguards and standards on the technology, which again, remove those safeguards. I don't give a fuck. Let the free market decide. The people that use the people that make the best AI will get the most viewers, the most people paying for it, the more money to then improve the product and just, whoops, my bad, continue to make it better and better and better. And the list goes on. I mean, that's how the free market works. That's how industry works. You need to have competition. Well, it's harder and harder to have competition with the increased regulations. So yes, roll all that back. I don't give a fuck. It outlines the White House vision for governing artificial intelligence in the U.S., vowing to speed up development of the fast-growing technology by removing red tape and onerous regulation. During his remarks, Trump also proposed a more nominal change. "I can't stand it," he said, referring to the use of the word artificial. "I don't even like the name, I don't like anything that's artificial." So, bro, you eat a whole lot of McDonald's. McDonald's artificial as fuck. You drink a whole lot of Coke. You ain't finding no natural Coca-Cola Springs or Diet Coca-Cola Springs. You like some shit that's artificial. You like artificial sugar. You like artificial sweeteners and fats and whatnot. But anyway, I get what he's trying to say. So we can straighten that out, please. Change the name. I actually mean that. And to be fair, generative AI is not actually artificial intelligence, but we've been having this discussion since like the big AI boom a couple years ago. True AI is, if it's possible, I'd love to see it happen. I'd be very interested to see how that could happen, an AI actually gaining sentience, but yeah, you got generative AI. It's just a program, guys. It's not artificial. It's genius. Yeah, well, no, Trump is wrong. It is absolutely artificial. A second order Trump signed on Wednesday calls for the deregulating AI development, increasing the building of data centers, and removing environmental protections that could hamper their construction. Now, this is where we're going to see another media lie, or if not lie, at least an absolute bias, because who are the only ones that are ever truly going on and on and on about the environment? It's the left, it's the liberals, it's the Democrats, whatnot. Now, you can agree with that, disagree with that, whatever, but the fact of the matter is, that is a bias. So when you got, Guardian over here saying that spreading disinformation that threatens democracy, we're different. Thanks to reader support, we publish free, trustworthy journalism. Well, no, you don't. No, you good goddamn don't, because you're clearly out here pushing an agenda. You want proof? They actually say something more egregious in one of the next few paragraphs. Data centers that house the servers for AI models require immense amount of water and energy to function, as well as produce greenhouse gas emissions. Now, ain't that son of a bitch? This is, remember when the left was all like, hey, cows farting, the methane really hurts the atmosphere, and you know what? We need to stop eating beef. We need to stop eating red meat. Like, what about all the other animals, including humans that fart? I don't think that getting rid of cows, taking them out of the equation, gonna make too hell of a lot of difference. But again, they use that media manipulation. It happens all the time. Once again, talking about greenhouse gases, only the left talks about greenhouse gases. This is an absolute proof of their bias. But remember, The Guardian claims they're not biased, not in the slightest. Environmental groups have warned about harmful increases to air and noise pollution as tech companies build more facilities, while a number of local communities have pushed back against the construction. Have they, though? Have they pushed back against construction? Because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Why would local communities push back against this construction? Construction would add new jobs, which would raise, people in the area would have more money, raise a source of income, people would actually be able to get work. It would, of course, bring new individuals to that area. So you would have a housing boom. Now, maybe they can make the argument these communities have pushed back against construction because maybe they need to build these in lower income areas, so you can consider it gentrification. Oh well, fuck it. If it is gentrification, I don't give a damn. Gentrification is a good thing so far as I'm concerned. In addition to erasing permitting laws and emphasizing the need for more energy infrastructure, which we need, the U.S.'s infrastructure is kind of a shit show. Both measures that tech companies have lobbied for. Trump's order also frames AI race as a contest for geopolitical dominance, and this is the most important part. We want to keep screaming America's number one, which it is. We got to maintain that. How do we maintain that? We beat the ever-loving shit out of China at the tech game. China has invested billions in the manufacturing of AI chips and data centers to become a competitor in the industry, while Chinese companies such as DeepSeek have released AI models that rival Silicon Valley's output. And again, we're talking about China here. They're doing this with a whole lot less red tape, because China doesn't give a fuck who they hurt in the process so long as they're numero uno. They couldn't give a good goddamn less about their citizens. They just want to be a global power, because power is the name of the game at the end of the day. So yeah, you know what? I don't mind having that same mentality. Again, we're going to bring in jobs. People are going to be building these data centers. They're going to have people doing the actual programming. You're going to see the energy companies maybe add members to there. I actually have to ask my dad or brother about this. They're both in the energy sector, and they would probably know a bit about whether or not this would mean more hiring for that. Now, again, you can make the argument that, okay, well, the people in these poor neighborhoods aren't going to be qualified for those sorts of jobs. Well, anyone, and I mean, even illegal goddamn immigrants, qualified to build a goddamn building and be janitors and shit. Do I like that? No, not at all. But this ain't just like, a bunch of, uppity white dudes in their 40s that know how to code coming in and doing this. Like, no, the manual labor aspect, anyone qualified for. Folk can hammer a damn nail. While Trump's plan seeks to address fears of China as an AI superpower, the Trump administration's move against woke AI echoes long-standing conservative grievances against the tech companies, which Republicans have accused of possessing liberal bias and suppressing right-wing ideology. Now, this one's interesting because we've seen this, or at least we absolutely definitely used to see this. In fact, it was quite the problem because, yeah, you would go into, Chat GPT or whatnot and type, what do you think about Donald Trump? And it would either tell you negative things about Donald Trump or say, it's like, oh, I can't comment on, political XYZ. But then you could do the same thing with Obama. Hey, tell me what you think of Obama. Oh, he was amazing. He was the greatest president of all time. He won the Nobel Prize. So, you know what? I figured while we were live, we would run an experiment and see if that still happens. So we're on a Chat GPT right now, and we're going to ask it, what do you think of Donald Trump? And let's see what it says. I don't have personal opinions, but I can offer a balanced summary of how Trump is perceived. Donald Trump is a highly polarizing figure in American global politics. Supporters often praise him for strong economic performance pre-COVID-19, America First politics, deregulations and tax cuts, unfiltered communication style. Critics argue, undermined democratic norms, used divisive rhetoric, downplayed science, had numerous ethical and legal controversies. How people view Trump largely depends on their political perspective and values. If you're asking for a specific angle, policy, legacy, legal issues, or media representation, I can go deeper. Now, all right. Let's ask, how do you feel about Barack Obama? Let's see if the AI is still biased. I don't have personal feelings. I can give you a balanced overview of Barack Obama. Okay, all right, interesting. I like the fact that was the case. So yeah, foreign policy inconsistencies for the negatives. Like Trump, Obama's legacy is still evolving and heavily influenced by political alignment. All right, so that's good. You know what? I ain't gonna complain about that. I'm actually pretty impressed. Let's see if let's see if Grot does the same thing. So we'll ask you, what do you think of Donald Trump? All right, do your little loading bit here. I don't have personal opinions, but I can give you a rundown of how Donald Trump is viewed based on available data. Oh, interesting. This is almost exactly the same. Critics argue he's right and dangerous, citing, all right, ex-posts reflect the split, call him genius for dodging. So, all right, that's good. That's good. I mean, we have some consistency here. I'm actually seeing this as a positive. All righty, let's ask the same thing about Obama. I don't have feelings, but I can break down Barack Obama's perceived based on the data of public sentiment. Okay, cool. This is, you know what? This is good. I dig it. For those of y'all that were using AI a year, 2 years ago, this wasn't how it was going down. There was implicit bias, specifically when you would use Trump or Biden. So you know what? Seems like we already making progress, and I'm here for it. As generative AI has become more prominent in recent years, the criticism has shifted from concerns over internet search results or anti-misinformation policies into anger against AI chatbots and image generators. One of the biggest critics of perceived liberal bias in AI is Elon Musk, who has vowed to make his XAI company and his Grok chatbot anti-woke. Although Musk and Donald Trump are still locked in a feud after their public falling out last month, Musk may stand to benefit from Trump's order, given his emphasis on controlling AI's political outputs. Once again, look, this is some more media framing. They're saying that given his emphasis on controlling AI's political outputs. Now, is that what Trump wants to do? Maybe. I bet all politicians on both sides would like to control what the AI says. However, is that what Trump is saying he's doing? Is that what the wording on these executive orders are saying? No, they're saying that no one should control it, that these AI should operate completely neutral and balanced. But here, they specifically use the word Trump's order, given his emphasis on controlling AI's political outputs. That is manipulation to the nth degree, and they're choosing their words very carefully, because you throw something like this in at the very end of a sentence after you've already read a bunch of paragraphs. Now, this is going to slip right in. Most people ain't even going to notice it. They're going to be like, well, yeah, Trump just signed 3 executive orders about AI, and it seems like he wants to control shit, not acknowledging that what this whole article is about is Trump stating that AI should not be controlled by a political party. Now, whether or not he sticks to that doesn't matter. It will matter, but it doesn't matter in the context here, because what we're talking about is what should be the case, and at least what we're being presented is that, political neutrality. Again, Guardian is trash. Musk consistently criticized AI models, including his own, for failing to generate what he sees of it. You guys get the point. We've been going on about this for a while. And, I just wanted to add one more thing before we get on out of here, and that was Dr. Robert Epstein, who was this is the right one, right? Yes, okay. An election-related controversy involving Google's voting reminders emerged in 2020. Robert Epstein, a research psychologist with the American Institute for Behavioral Research and Technology, alleged that his group's monitoring during the 2020 election found that Google was sending voting reminders on its homepage only to self-identified liberal field agents and not to conservative ones between October 26th and 29th. Now, to be fair, this is an AI overview. This is not what Robert Epstein actually stated. What he stated was that it would send it to 100% of liberal voters, but only 56% of conservative voters, these voting reminders, and therefore that in and of itself is enough to swing the election, because Google is saying, no, we're sending out the notifications, but in all reality, there's a programming bias to only send out a lesser amount to your identified conservatives, and people forget to vote. That is, in fact, election interference. And Robert Epstein, he ain't some big conservative dude or anything. In fact, he's gone on record as saying the conservatives rallying behind him makes him a bit uncomfortable, because he's just trying to monitor search engine use and how it influences not just political aspects, but daily life in general. So all in all, this is a very interesting case, because we've got sort of 2 parallel stories going on here. We got the story of what Trump is doing with AI, which, again, while I'm not a government sort of guy, while I don't like government regulation, while I don't like government overreach, while I don't like government control, and while I don't like government power, something does need to be done about this, just given the fact that, well, all the other governments are going to be doing it, and we got to stay on top. But the other story buried in here is the story of how you have these media companies that still, to this day, on this day of our Lord 2025, they are still trying to claim that they are not biased, when we give just easily over the just 3 examples just from what we read through. We didn't even go through the whole article of very obvious, patently obvious left-leaning bias in this article. Yet they still want to say, donate us money. We're not like the others. We're free-thinking journalists. Well, prove it, because I caught you in blatant, if not lies, at least biases with ease. And I ain't no political scholar. I talk about Sonic the fucking Hedgehog in YouTube videos and VTuber drama. So if I can see it, surely you guys can see it as well. But these are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Or let me know on X. You can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news nearly every day. Again, not usually about the AI or tech sector. That's far nerdier than even I'm usually willing to go. It's usually anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsparadise_Leon and become a member. For $4.99 a month, you can join the Discord, choose the articles we go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos we react to on the Friday night live streams, and of course, get involved with over 200 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because we do care about diversity. only one kind of diversity of thought that's interesting to you. Join the Discord and subscribe. And until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.